us a prayer, and we remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to gather together to discuss the business of the school and the district. We pray that you would look over this meeting and have us do what you would have us do for the betterment of the children. Lord, we especially lift up our friends and colleagues in West Florida who are dealing with the aftermath of the storm. We pray that you would grant them strength and peace as they go about rebuilding. Lord, we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a presentation tonight from Healthy Schools, Miss Sadie Collins. She's not here. I'm sorry.
She has 2 substitutes.
Okay, well, we like substitutes too.
Thank you for coming.
Well, you're very welcome. My name is Penny Taylor, and I am the Director of Healthy Schools at the Florida Department of Education. And my partner here is Asma O'Day, and she is with the Department of Health. She is the Florida Department of Health's Healthy Schools Coordinator. But tonight, we're not here from our day job. We're here as proud members of the Florida Partnership for Healthy Schools. And you might be saying, well, who in the world is the Partnership for Healthy Schools? So I'll give you a quick overview of who that partnership is. The partnership is a grassroots statewide organization, and there are over 45 members, so I will not go through that laundry list for you tonight. But I want to give you a flavor of these statewide partners. There are partners like the Florida Association of District School Superintendents. I know you're very familiar with them. They would also be the Florida Action for Healthy Kids, Alliance for a Healthier Generation, the Florida chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, Cancer, Heart, Florida PTA, YMCA. So you kind of get a good idea. These are really influential statewide partners that come together twice a year to do things like this. What the partnership's primary purpose is twofold. One is to inform advocacy about school health issues, and the second one is to recognize excellence among school districts. And one way that we inform advocacy is through data, and I know you all use data all the time as well. Florida is rich with youth data in the area of risk behaviors and prevention. And I just want to engage you for just 1 minute to give you an update on 5 indicators that we have seen such a positive trend. We are headed in the right direction. We need to all pat ourselves on the back. So when I give you this trend, I would like you to say, so can I engage you for a moment? The percentage in the Florida Youth Risk Behavior Survey has shown us that the percentage of students who rode with a driver who had been drinking
Decrease.
pretty impressive. The students that are the sexual dating violence significantly
Decrease.
Students currently sexually active,
Decrease.
alcohol and tobacco use,
Decrease.
and this one might surprise you. It's a good trend. Soda consumption.
Decrease.
Now, I didn't say anything about coffee. We don't have that on the survey yet. Probably coffee has gone up. Who knows? Well, but there is one particular indicator that I think you're all very aware of that continues to not be a positive story and that we have consistently been way too high, and that is the number of students, the percentage of students that have seriously considered attempting suicide or made a plan or attempted actually committing suicide. It's consistently too high. And I think you all also would agree that we just have to plug forward and continue increasing the social and emotional programs, health education, and mental health services. And I know you all are working on that right now. But there is one data point that I want to point out to you that sends us all a very clear message. In Florida, we ask our high school students if they believe that it's important for students as part of their high school experience to receive information and to have the schools help them address problems of today, like drug abuse, HIV, STD, violence, teen pregnancy and suicide. And it's astounding. Every single cycle, it is the highest indicator. It's always at least 87%, if not up to 92%. And it doesn't matter what race, and it doesn't matter what gender. They all, I won't say all, because 87 and 92% are high, but they're not everyone. But it's a very high percentage. Our youth want to have guidance in this area. So I think you all, we're here to award you with your silver Healthy District flag today. And that silver flag really indicates that you all are doing that. You're addressing these areas that students are most interested and need this assistance. So in a moment, we'll be able to give you that flag. And the assessment, there's a self-assessment that the district went through, and it's very comprehensive, and you can't do it alone. You have to do it with your team members. And although it is a whole district initiative, I would love for Lori Newman and Miss Wynn, Iris Wynn, do you guys, Wynn, do you mind coming up for a moment? You've had a team of people put this together, but there's a couple that have been doing the extra heavy lifting, and so we just wanted to draw a little bit of attention to them. This assessment has 10 areas and then one structured first part. In the first part, don't be shy, why not? In the first part, it's the piece of that self-assessment about how to become a healthy district, or if you are one, that really carries the most weight, and it's called district infrastructure. So these ladies, in particular Lori, you have been at the table from day one when you walked in the door. They have done a beautiful job helping create that strong infrastructure. Your district scored at 87%, and that's high. You got a little room to grow up there, but that is very high, so I appreciate that. Lori, you in particular have been such a great resource and a partner for those that are trying to provide these services for you guys. I tell you, she's been not just hardworking, but forward-thinking and bold, and always at the table when there are free resources for your district and free, high-quality resources. And Asma wanted to just say a few things about her time.
I personally work with Lori with the employee and student wellness project. It's to show how schools are trying to implement physical activity, nutrition, and provide resources. And she recently lots of success stories about the student and employee and how she's trying to, promote physical activity and nutrition. But the one that resonated the most with me is the mental health event where you had all your employees and you sent it out. And it's for everyone. That was really impressive because we know if the employees feel good and they are not stressed and they are stress-free and they have relaxation, that will reflect good on their students. And I thought that's very impressive, and I hope you guys keep these initiatives for your employees. And I know that you have lots of initiatives and efforts for the students, but I thought this one was very impressive. And we encourage you to keep doing this for your employees. So I think that was very impressive. And you are very responsive. And like every time I see that email, she's there and running you with all the other positions. So kudos to you.
So we're at the tail end here. I just wanted to point out a couple of areas out of that long assessment with 10 areas in it that you all were exemplary. One of them was in health services, your school health services, your nurses, 90%. That's really a high exemplary scoring. But the one I was really excited about because of where we are right now with mental health is your counseling, psychological, and social services, 87%. That's phenomenal and very important right now. And the last one I'm going to mention is healthy school environment, and that is not just your your physical plant, but it is your physical plant that is rated, but there's also the culture and the climate of your school district. So you were at 84% there, so that's really phenomenal. So the Partnership for Healthy Schools looks forward to providing training, technical assistance, support you in any way possible. We're going to have another Healthy District Symposium in January. We'll be inviting you to come and be a part of that. And now we would like to award you, and if you ladies would stay up with us, with the flag, and if you guys are okay, and ladies, if you would come up and hold the flag, we'd love to get a picture of you with your silver flag. Is that good?
I have one question.
Sure.
When you were going over decreasing, did you mention drug use and abuse? Was that on the?
I did not. I put, well, alcohol as a drug. Alcohol is down. But drugs in general I believe are down. It's marijuana and vaping.
That's just a concern as a board member I have
Yes.
within the district, that I feel that is an issue that as a board we need to address. I mean, we've had some incidences where, I mean, next time.
Yeah, these are, I was giving you statewide numbers, but you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Alford. There is a survey that the Department of Children and Family does. It's called the Florida Youth Substance Abuse Survey. The survey that I get funded through the Centers for Disease Control is statewide. It's called the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. But the survey that I'm referencing is from Children and Family. They provide you all with district-level data for risk and protective factors, and there's a lot of drug information in there
I
for
feel
your
that's a
district.
huge issue here in this district that we're not addressing.
Well, if you would like me to, I can, if you want to give me your contact information, or I can send it to whoever, I can
To
send you
Dr.
a link
Pickles.
to your district survey information. They put together a very comprehensive report with recommendations in it. I think you'll find it really useful and helpful. The part about that survey that and we go out together. We don't survey and drive you all crazy. We go out and interleave these surveys and do it at one time. The thing that I would also encourage you to look at in that survey report is there's the protective factor information. It's how many students, what percentage of your students feel connected to school, what percentage of your students feel safe coming and going to school. So there's drug prevention or drug use information throughout it, but I would encourage you to look at the risk and protective factor information.
I'm just concerned there's been a lot of misinformation that students have at the high school level, that you can do drugs and then take these other drugs to clear it from your system.
Right.
And that's not so. I mean, that's being taught on the street by the youth in this district. So that's just concerning as a board member, that you have Molly and Flock out there, which are all these drugs that are on the street, and they're thinking you can take diuretics to clear it from your system if you were to be drug tested, and that's not so.
It's not so.
And I don't know if we need to do a better job of educating that this can kill you and the effects of it, or it's just scary that 9th and 10th graders are talking that.
Right.
And where are they getting the information, and where are they getting the drugs, and are they on campus? And it's just a lot of concerns as a board member.
I agree with you. And to demyth, those are myths out
Right.
there that they're spreading. So through your health education, and probably at 9th and 10th grade, are you doing HOPE? Are you doing the health opportunities through physical education?
We do hope.
You do HOPE? Through your HOPE course would be one way to get that out, but you could also partner with your health department. I know in Leon County, they went out and they partnered, I believe, with their health department to do some STD prevention blitzes, and I want to say they did drug prevention as well.
Both of those areas would, I think, be areas that we would need.
Right.
Well, that would be great. Anything that you could offer would be great, I think. I can't speak for the other board members, but it's just concerning that
Sure.
we have students thinking that you can take another drug to clear the drugs that you have in your system, and that's not the case.
Right, and health education is really a critical area, and it is one, I'll tell you, that districts have the hardest time ranking at a high point value here because of the time in the day that it takes. There's districts like Duval, Pinellas, Osceola that have standalone courses for their
Right.
middle schoolers and high schoolers, because once you get to high school, they're that much more advanced. If you can integrate health education, especially the drug prevention education in earlier grades, then those transitional years, I think, will be positively impacted.
Probably by like fifth grade, because by middle school, I mean, it's sad to say, in many instances, they're already using drugs.
Right, and this is relevant to these youth. This is part of their life. This is information that they want to know more about, they want to talk about. So we'll be glad to work with you all to get some really good,
That would be
high-quality.
great. I mean, I would want that. I can't speak for the other board members, but
Definitely want to.
And that is probably, if there were any area of your assessment that you ranked the lowest, and you're not alone, then it was health education. So we would love to help you in that area in any way possible. So
Thank you.
We'll follow up.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to do this flag, but in addition, tonight we had another sponsor. Your superintendent can proudly wear this polo shirt. It is a Florida Healthy District polo shirt. Now, we brought you a small, because I looked online, they weren't. And if you would rather a medium, you can, but I thought a small was perfect. Thank you. So are you guys okay about coming up and we'll do one picture? Celebrating your success. So we want to go back next time and celebrate the big goal. Super goal. Super goal.
Cheer, cheer.
Ladies first.
Hang on, cheer. Here.
And we're bringing it all the way up here and get you guys to line up to the flag and bring up. I'm going to leave you with these as well. There's some posters you can take that are all with getting the data out. All right, so I don't think that's an issue. Oh, no, you have to see everything.
Okay. Okay, this way and smile, all three. 1, 2, 3. More. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Make it.
Yeah.
I got it. Cheer, cheer.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to amend the agenda to move item 5.6 to next, because Mr. Killingsworth has two places to be at the same time. And this is the district safety plan. Mr. Killingsworth.
Good evening, and thank y'all for allowing me to do this. What I was coming to do is ask, like I did at the last board meeting, that I was going to have the plan out for you to come and see what y'all did, and I appreciate that. Tonight, though, is when we need to ask for your vote for approval for the district safety plan, which has to be turned into the state by the end of this month, and this is the last board meeting of the month. So basically what I'm here to do is I have spoke with y'all is to see if y'all will vote and will approve the safety plan that we have for this school year for our district.
Okay. Did everybody have a chance to come and review it?
we had the
All
chance.
right, is there motion to approve the school safety plan?
I'll make,
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve this district safety plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Mr. Alford to approve the school safety plan. All those in favor? 5-0,
Thank
Ms.
y'all.
Bishop.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
good luck, Ben. All right, comments from the public? There are none. Consent agenda items.
You'll just let them know about the 3 items I gave you.
Do you want to do it at the beginning or when we get to that item? Okay, never mind, we're not going to do line item. Never mind. On the permission to advertise policy updates, there are 3 policies that there's still some questions about that they're reviewing. That is 6830, 6833, and 6840. We will not be voting on those 3 policies tonight. It's for the clarification.
Those 3 policies have to deal with audits, and Mr. Copeland had some questions, so they've emailed Neola.
Okay, are there any questions or concerned about anything on the consent? If there aren't any questions, is there a motion to approve the consent items? And to advertise the other policies?
I make the motion to approve the consent items.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Alford, seconded by Mr. Daniels. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Okay. Staff trips, Dr. Pickles.
There are none at this time.
Okay. Student field trips out of county, Dr. Pickles.
As you'll see, we have one for the high school beta club to go attend leadership training. I ask for your approval.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the student field trip?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the student field trip.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Daniels. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Becky. Student progression plan, Ms. Hill and Ms. Ginn, public hearing.
Yes, ma'am, we needed to have a public hearing over the changes to the student progression plan. It's my first time doing a public hearing, so what do I need to do?
Just open up the public. Give us the information and then we open it up
That-
to the public.
Okay.
At this time, it's open to the public
She
for,
has to give us the information first and then we open it to the public.
Okay. The only changes for the student progression plan this year are changes for clarification or statutory changes. On page 14 of the elementary student progression plan, we added the 20 minutes of daily supervised, safe, and unstructured free play that's required by statute. And we referenced the statute there. Further down on that page, under no social promotion, we are striking out some language that was added that is not in statute, so that we are just completely putting there what's in statute. And so that's what's been crossed out there. On page 15, in changing over from one format of the student progression plan to another, last year we accidentally left out the kindergarten checklist, and so I've added that back in. And so that has been there in the past. It just got left out last year. So it is being put back in. On page, well, the last page of that, of the elementary, is a copy of the kindergarten checklist for you to be able to look at. Those are the only changes in the elementary student progression plan. In the middle school section, on page 11, there's a change there that came with statute. The legislature took out the requirement that students complete a course in career and education planning that's been previously combined with the United States history course. And so, since that was taken out of statute, we have also taken it out of the student progression plan. Further down the page, some information about civics that needed to be clarified as far as how much of the grade the end-of-year course test would count, and so that's been clarified. And then further down on the page, it was very confusing about what was required for promotion from 6th to 7th grade and from 7th to 8th. All it said was completion of the courses. It did not say with what grade. And so, it kind of seemed like common sense that it would be a passing grade, but there was debate about it, and so now we have clarified that by saying that the student must earn a passing grade in the language arts, math, science, and social studies courses. And then over on page 13, again, we removed the career and education planning course that is no longer required. So those are the only changes there. For the high school, the only change was taking the concordant scores and putting in the newest requirements that the state now expects. And so it changed the PERT test for incoming ninth graders so that that's not an option anymore. And then the numbers changed on the SAT and the ACT. So any questions?
They went up higher, didn't they?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll open it up to the public if there's any comments or questions from the public at this time. Okay. There being none, take it. Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the student progression plan?
I'll make a motion to approve the student progression plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Mr. Alford to approve the student progression plan. All those in favor? Aye by Ms. Becky.
And that was to approve all three of the, you've got a high school, a middle school, and elementary school, so y'all are
Yes.
approving all. Okay.
Purchase of food service vehicle. Ms. Nguyen.
As you recall,
Yes.
and it's there, the quote is there, it's this off-state contract. And so I do recommend the purchase. Ms. Nguyen presented it at our workshop. And it comes out of the food service budget.
And
And
I'm
she
glad
really
they're getting
could've
one,
used
because
it
that
last
other one
week.
is, looks like it's held together with wire and toothpicks.
Well, she will be happy to tell you she'd had it last week after moving food back and forth between schools, so.
Okay. Is there a motion, any questions? Is there a motion to approve the purchase of the new van?
I make a
Food
motion to approve the purchase of the new van.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Alford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Daniels. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Becky. And purchase of maintenance van.
Mr. Gann is here. He did send in two quotes. One is considerably less than the other, and did make the recommendation to go with the lower quote, which is for the F-250. In talking to Mr. Gann, the higher quote, they'll also have to take the body out, put the tool body on there and everything. So, and we did advertise in our capital outlay advertisement for a maintenance truck.
Okay.
So I do recommend going with the lower bid. So, but I ask for your approval.
Okay, any questions and concerns about the,
And that is on state contract too.
about the maintenance vehicle? Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion to approve the maintenance vehicle.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Alford, second by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor? I vote Ms. Becky.
Ms. Williamson, I have a question. Is there any way that, I know in the future with us living in Florida, it's inevitable we're going to have hurricanes, and is there any way that maybe for food service, we could like look at where they may could get generators at the school for the kitchen where their freezers still could work in the time of a storm? Because I think you can get some generators pretty reasonable because that is a large amount of work we're making people do, that if we had the money.
Well, part of it, you got to remember, we have to bring in, one, when we have to run the shelter.
Right.
So part of that food is being used to operate the shelter.
So are we, at the schools, when the power goes down, are we having to like move food from, say, Lee to this school or that school, or does it stay at the school? I guess that's the question.
We
We
move
can
them.
move it to the central warehouse, central freezer.
So you are having to like move food across the district?
Yes.
Tell them about the freeze bags, I'm not sure, I'm not an electrician, but we were looking into that.
We explored that even through the last one,
The last storm.
and we presented our needs to the state, and we never did hear anything back from it. It'll be fairly costly. It's not out of sight, but, it's going to cost some money.
Right.
To get up there, we're all three-phase within our schools, three-phase power we're talking about, and those generators are a lot different than your little house generators that we come up with. And then there's the insulation, the engineering, and there's a lot that goes with that. So we've, I can support.
I was just trying to think of something to make it easier on them, because that has to be,
It is, but.
that has to be a lot of work and a lot of hard work, and
Well, the one thing with the truck that we're gonna get, my warehouse in Calvin has a electric pallet jack, and when the stuff's on the pallet, instead of us handling,
Right.
he's gonna be able to put that on that truck with that, and unload it off that truck onto that dock and push it in his freezer. It's gonna eliminate a lot of the pieces.
so it'll be easier on you all.
Much easier, yes, that's what we still.
That's the thing that that's the thing that concerns me is, it's not fair to you all having, because you're talking about large quantities of food, I assume.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Irish, you would have to say how much, if any, of the food that we use from the outlying schools this year. I don't know that,
Well,
we only sheltered 272 this year. Last year, it was 640 in the shelter.
but we were able to use, like, we had some sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that were already taken out of the freezer, juice that was taken out, stuff that was already taken out, we didn't know we were gonna close, so we can't.
Right.
We have to let it thaw. Well, we use that stuff, in the shelter, so we won't have to dispose of it. And we are able to feed them, and then, we do, I do a spreadsheet for the reimbursement of the payment.
Yeah, I was just thinking of a way that, if we could get it in a grant where,
The truck will help a lot because with the pallet jack, you can put it on the pallet and, like Mr. Kim said, how that, even the electric pallet jack has helped. But being able to lift that on the back of that truck and then put it on the dock and not have to keep handling it back and forth.
if ever we could get it in a grant where we could get it, I would want to try to pursue it.
Mr. Gibbs, do you remember what size generators we asked for last year? Because even last year, we did ask for all three schools, but that
I've
was,
still got that saved, I can look it up and find out what we need.
because they would call every day. Do you have any unmet needs? I said, yeah, I have schools that I have, freezers that I've had to move the food. And it's like, well, what do you need? And so we sent it over, but we never heard anything. So,
What, Ms. Nguyen, what would be the amount if like one of those freezers went down and you lost everything in there? What type of money are you talking?
Well, it's according, this time, we had just received,
Shipment.
FFP shipment, which is fresh fruit and vegetable, and we had received that on Monday, and then we received the trucks on Tuesday.
The storm
So it
came
was
Wednesday.
considerable. At
Yeah.
that time, we did have to move a lot of stuff, but I couldn't stop delivery of it around.
Right.
I mean, when we flooded, there was no way to say we can't accept these.
I just appreciate everything because I know that was hard work having to move all that.
Did we give a pay or comp time or something for it?
for our staff. Well, our employees, yes.
Sometimes you can't get paid. Comp time would really be nice.
Our employees will be compensated. And it was a struggle having to move. And we had the fresh fruit that was going to expire and we could not serve to the children. And we were able to donate that to our local prison. And, well, we couldn't feed it and use it in the shelter after, because we were still closed. So we were able to donate it, and Ms. Wynn has her blessing.
To the first responders.
Yeah, we donated it to the EOC and around, but we still had about 30 cases.
Wow.
Now, you do know that at
Cantaloupe.
Pineland Church, it's something like Second Harvest, and twice a week. And Clyde Alexander's in charge of that, the previous school board member, and anything that you have, you need to donate, that he will take it, because he goes way down 5 to 6 hour drives to transport that food back.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
twice a week, he brings it in. They, at Pineland Baptist Church is where they, give it away, and it's always, they got these text messages and it just gets out, and people are really there to get it, so the community can get some of it.
The next item, 5.7, personnel recommendations. Dr. Pickles?
As you'll notice, we talked about in our workshop, we've started grouping things together. So Mr. Stonecker has gone through our volunteer list and our personnel recommendations. So under our personnel recommendations, we have 2 instructional, 4 non-instructional, and then we have 3 resignations, and then 2 substitute teacher, para, and then 1 custodian. And then we have 2 pages of volunteers. So I do ask for your approval.
Okay. Are there any questions or concerns about anything on the personnel recommendations? If there's not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the personnel recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Alford, second by Mr. Daniels. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Becky. Okay. Monthly financial report, Mr. Copeland.
I'm going to try to get this pulled up on the screen here. I think that's make it easier. Got me on videos. How are y'all?
Doing well.
I'm going to pull this up on the screen, and then I have a hard copy of the report I could give y'all. I think it would be easier to point things out this way. We're in September, this is monthly report through September 30th. of 18, and I've got one too many numbers on there. 3 months into the fiscal year, or 25% of our fiscal year is done with through September 30th. And so I wanted to kind of go here. This is our general fund operating summary by object. And if you look up here, this is our revenue budgets by category, and this is our year-to-date activity through September 30th. And while we're 25% into the year, our revenues received to date through September 30th are only 22.1%. And the reason I'm saying that is it'll skew your percentages, especially early into a fiscal year. And so just take that in mind. The big driver there, everything we received with our state FEFP, this is Medicaid reimbursement, we're right in line with the 25%. But you come down here to local, that's primarily our district school taxes. And keep in mind that those will, the bulk of that will be received in November and December usually. And so that's where we're skewed a little bit. And so everything else is in line. That's like that every year. It's just a timing issue. If you come down here, expenditures by object, budgets, and our actual, you see there are salaries with 20.9% of our budget through 25% of the year. So we're trending all right there. Same thing with employee benefits, purchase services, energy services. There could be some timing differences there, but we're just slightly over budget. Materials and supplies. This one is 66%, and what's happened here is mainly a timing issue. We purchased a great number of instructional materials the first month, these first 3 months of the year. And I spoke with Ms. Hill today, and that's going to level off. It's not going to trend like that. So what you're seeing is 66% of the budget purchases in the first 3 months, and it's a timing issue. And this will level out as we get more months into the fiscal year. Capital expenditures, the same thing. We're wrapping up some projects that we had started last fiscal year on our IT improvements, and there's some expenditures in that we've had to, take them at the beginning of this year. That trend, we're going to monitor it, but it's not going to continue like that. It's going to drop off. And the other thing is, we also spent a good portion of money on our welding project, which is a great deal. And because we had a lot of workforce development funds that are categorical funds from the state that have been carrying over. And so we got to use it on something that's a good project for us regardless, but it has helped decrease that carryover amount. And so that's the main drivers of the increase there. But you see our overall expenditures for the first 3 months, we're at 23.9% of our budget. So we're trending fine there. Let's go down here. Now this is broken down by function. It's a little bit different. So instruction, we're okay. Pupil services, fine. Instruction and curriculum, same thing right there. We're over budget some for the first 3 months, but keep in mind that we have those instructional materials that were weighted heavy the first 3 months. Instructional staff training. This includes an $18,000 annual payment that we've already made. So you take that, if you spread that out over the year, we'd be right in line with our budget. Instructional technology, we're fine. Everything's trending. we're a little heavy on some of our early expenditures, but as we get into the year, that should tail off. Administrative technology, this is the capital expenditures mostly, again, that we were looking at, that we should be done. And so there will be a few falling in here and there, but I'm going to monitor that, and I guess it's out of kilter right now, but again, we've had to go ahead and expend for a lot of the finish up on the IT projects early in the year. And I want y'all to also keep in mind that our expenditures this year include the vacation terminal pay down that we agreed, that we put in our policies, where we're reducing the carryover hours allowed from 480 to 240. That's a big expenditure that we took in July. Now that's heartburn right now, but that's going to be very helpful to the district going forward, because as we bring in new people and stuff, we're not going to have these 480-hour accumulated vacation terminal pay balances. It's not easy to do it, but we've done it, and just take that into account, because we've spent a lot more on that this year to date than we did last year. I've got a memo here that kind of details the reconciling items that I went through there. I'll hand it out to each of y'all, and y'all can look at it more. And if you have questions, please ask me. Take into account right now, don't let this projected fund balance scare you. Keep in mind, we're 3 months into the year, and we've only received 22% of our revenue. If everything was level and we had received 25% of it, we would be well ahead of that. So it's simply I'm not saying we don't have areas to monitor better and areas that we can shore up better, but a lot of this 3 months into the year is timing issues. So I don't know if all that makes sense, but that's the simplified version.
Any questions for Mr. Copeland?
What is the fund balance right now?
Ms. Gibson, right now through September, based on this is cash basis accounting, you'd be looking at 971. That doesn't worry me because of the revenue timing. So don't let that get you
Is that, what percent is that?
That right there would be about 4.5%.
4.5%.
Total fund balance. That's not, that's not taking off your categorical.
That's what I meant, the percentage. That's what
it would be a 4.5% total fund balance. As we get further in the year and we have more level numbers to look at, we can get a more accurate. But again,
everything that's in the budget. Everything.
That's right. I just, not that I don't want to try to project it.
Supposed to carry over.
But it just, keep in mind that these, projecting a fund balance, you have to project out to the end of the year based on.
Right.
It's just, I just want y'all to know, it's going to change when we get audited numbers at the end of any year, but this is what we're showing now.
Right.
Any other questions for Mr. Copeland?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Walker.
Copeland.
Thank you.
Other items of interest, Superintendent Adams?
I had a list there and various meetings I've attended. And then, as I stated, we served 272 in our shelter, and ran real smoothly. Ms. Albrecht with Department of Health, Mr. Wiggum with Emergency Management just talked about. It seemed this year it ran even smoother than it did last year, so it seems that we're constantly perfecting things. I think there's still some hiccups and things we need to work out. As you know, the Panhandle District, the coastal districts, severely damaged. Even districts in Georgia, I don't know if y'all pay attention to the news, Thomas County is closed indefinitely, just due to roads right now. So a lot of our counties in the Panhandle are severely affected. Now, it was interesting when I was talking to Ms. Hill left. Ms. Hill, we had 7 students enrolled today with us, but they're not from the Panhandle. They're from other counties, and they're children that have been with us before and are coming back. We will adjust our FTE dates. So once I have a discussion with Commissioner Stewart, it's going to be a district by district. So we will adjust that. We are very, very fortunate that we only had to deal with power outages. I was talking to Mr. Reeves. We have a room full of where we've been changing out smart boards and changing out computers. We change out our technology. So we have some surplus technology. And I know different schools are adopting our sister schools. I was talking to Ms. Brown today. They're adopting Bluntstown Elementary School. I think the high school is adopting Bluntstown High School. And they're just going to try to do like backpack buddies type thing and try to just help these kids and in these neighboring counties. So I know we have some technology that we can offer to these other districts. So I don't know how the board feels about any of this. I don't know when they will even be able to start school. You think about Franklin County. Franklin County has one K-12 school and then one charter school. So some of these counties, it'll be quite a while before they will start back. But I would like to offer anything that we do have as surplus, depending on how the board feels about it.
Do you need a vote for that, or can we just consensus to allow her to?
I think you do need a vote. You need to authorize the superintendent to either through long-term loans or gifts to give excess supplies to those districts. I think y'all can certainly do that. But the school board, is the one that actually owns the property, is the one that controls it. So if you're going to allow the superintendent to do that, you need to do that by vote.
Are there any questions about that? About us being able to allow another district use our surplus, whatever we have that's surplus that they can use?
I make the motion to allow the superintendent surplus items to be given to whichever district she chooses that needs it.
Loan or given.
Loan or given.
Amend the agenda to include that?
Probably a good idea.
We need to amend the agenda to include that,
Okay, well,
that vote.
all right. Well, I will amend the agenda to add item 5.9. 5.9, which would be to allow the superintendent to distribute our surplus items to the other districts in need through loan or gift. Okay, Mr. Alford made the motion to approve that. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Becky. Anything
I
else?
will check to see, because like right now, I think Gulf County and Bay County, I think they're just indefinite. Jackson County, I think at least a month. Calhoun County, I have no idea their electrical infrastructure is totally gone. So, but I'll check with FADS, the affected superintendents, and then I'll report back.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it. Actually, meeting after meeting is being canceled because some of them were out in Westport.
Right.
We were supposed to go to Bonifay. Wednesday for a meeting. That meeting's been canceled. So that's it this time.
All right. Any attorney items?
No, just remind y'all that, remember next month, the second meeting is the Tuesday, the 20th. That's set by statute. We don't have any choice on that.
Okay. All right. Any board items, Mr. Alford?
No, just, I think it was maybe 2 meetings ago where we had asked for the people who are going in drop within the next year or 2 years where we can plan out this next year of maybe some things we may not want to bring back to try to save with money. That's the only thing that, for the next workshop, if we could have that, please.
Mr. Alston, I have that, and I apologize. Here all over, so I'll.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Hagan?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Mr. Daniels?
Yes, Madam Chair, if you will, I wanted to just share my experience down in Kissimmee, Florida, representing the Legislative Committee as part of the Florida School Boards Association, FSBA. And we met with the intent of creating the 2019 platform, legislative platform for the upcoming legislative session. And I passed out to each of you some of the issues or items that we narrowed down. We started with roughly 33 items for consideration, and one of our objectives was to narrow it down to 3 or 4 items, and passed out the few items that we tentatively narrowed it down to. One being very popular item being keeping the students or the schools safe, petitioning the legislation for school funding to harden the schools. And I'll just kind of give you an overview of what they are. And the second was enhancing mental health, which is very important, a very hot topic right now. And also investing in students in schools by, you can see in that second bullet point, with the attempt of increasing the base student allocation by a minimum of 3%, or at least $126 per student over the 2018 allocation. And then the last one may jump out at you a little bit. Allowing former district employees to be re-employed with the district after 1 month as opposed to the current 12 months. So it is a tentative, and they did mention that this is an election year, and based on who wins and the outcome of the election, it may change. We still are scheduled to meet a time or two prior to the legislation, the start of the legislative session. But this is just a tentative platform for the statewide legislative session. And I just wanted to share that with you as well as the others on what's coming down the pipe.
So what you're saying is on this very last one?
Yeah.
Because I know in the state it talks about drop.
I thought that was
and they-
just the drop program, but is it
It would
everybody?
have to be changed.
Well, I
It would
mean,
have to
that's
be
exactly-
changed.
Well, now, in other words, if a person retires that was not in the drop, they still have to wait a year?
If they want to not forfeit their retirement, yes.
Oh, okay.
The drop doesn't change. I mean, no, theoretically, you can be hired the next day, but if you don't wait your year, you can't draw your
Can't draw your
retirement.
retirement.
Okay, okay, okay.
So are you all going to advocate for that with the, because we can't do it with, I mean, who would do
Right.
that with?
Right, yes.
Okay. You got me straight on that.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Ms. Gibson?
Well, as the board rep, I attended the Chamber banquet, and it was very nice. They had quite a few people there. Fall Festival at Pinetta was a good event, and we enjoyed the homecoming parade.
I want to thank Mr. Daniels for his time and effort that he put into going into being our representative. I also want to thank the staff, the administration, and everybody that pitched in to help out Central School to make it go as smooth as it did with our evacuees and to keep them comfortable and safe and have everything run like it should. And I know that many of the administrators put in lots of hours out there, and I want to thank everybody. I talked to one of the principals that had done a 12 to 12 shift.
You want your comp time?
But we thank you all, and that's all I have. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Alford and second by Ms. Hagan.